From deep in the heart of Texas comes a stab in the heart of enemy tank columns. Tank destroyers, developed in increasing numbers, have helped destroy the myth of the vaunted Nazi Mark VI Tiger tanks. No tank can withstand the firepower of the 3-inch gun motor carriage M10, manned by this 5-man crew: gun commander, gunner, loader, assistant driver, and driver. Each man to his assigned position for a demonstration of the TD's performances. Today, this is the last word in tank destroyers. Tomorrow, it may be supplanted by a lighter, lower, faster, and more lightly armored vehicle, without sacrificing the firepower and effectiveness shown in this film. But make no mistake about the TD we are now demonstrating. It's big and tough, and we'll show you later how maneuverable. And its KO punch is already too familiar to the opposition. Basically, it consists of the hull of the M4 tank, with special turret and the 3-inch high-velocity gun. This is the TD's principal weapon. A secondary weapon is the 50 caliber machine gun, used primarily for anti-aircraft, and normally not fired when the principal weapon is in action. Note the bustle-like effect below the 50 caliber gun. Actually, it's 3,200 pounds of counterbalance. Either of the gunners or the gun commander himself handle the 50 caliber under combat conditions. Ready to button up. Driver and assistant close the hatches, and the cameraman follows them inside for a close-up study. As quickly as the driver gets downstairs, he installs the front and side periscopes. The driver's instrument panel is as complicated as you'd find in a bomber. He steers the vehicle by clutch brakes and is now taking ready position at the levers. For going upstairs, the driver reverses the procedure just shown. About 40 tank destroyers are tested daily at Camp Hood. They put the new TDs through the most difficult paces, actually trying to break them down. By the time they get into battle action, they're seasoned veterans so far as taking the bumps and hills are concerned. 2 diesel engines power the M10, and it carries sufficient fuel for approximately 200 miles of operation. It has a 48-inch fording depth, which can be materially extended by use of field expedients. Climbing a 28% grade without the use of track grousers is another assignment that can be taken in stride. This rolling giant has excellent cross-country characteristics. Maximum speed on good roads, 32 miles per hour. Note that the drivers have been well advised as to the advantages of keeping proper distance between vehicles. Note, too, the stability of the vehicle as it tears off hundreds of yards with smooth, sprinter-like precision. Without too much stretch of the imagination, you can visualize this tank destroyer tearing up the desert sands in Africa, raring to spit destructive fire at enemy tanks. So, the next step is to show how the guns are checked and made ready for action. The TD rolls up into position for these tasks to be accomplished. Here we go. Hatches closed. Muzzle cover removed by the gun commander, who quickly returns to his position. Then, he connects the leads to the headset of the intercommunication telephone system. Removal of the breech cover is one preliminary assignment given to the loader. Next, he inspects the breech and bore. The gunner checks the manual firing mechanism. Here you are witnessing the results of careful instruction and planning. Proper care and maintenance give assurance that parts and components will be in working order. After removing the locking pin, the gunner opens his sight port. Then unlocks the traversing lock and the turret is ready to spin. Note the position of the gunner's arms as left hand operates elevating wheel and right hand the traversing wheel. Only plenty of practice brings this type of efficient operation. The gun traverses 360 degrees and can be fired at any place within that circle. In other words, a stable gun mount in any position. Incidentally, to help eliminate excessive cranking, closest synchronization between gunner and driver is maintained for shifting the vehicle. Everything checked, everything tested. So we move on to the target range. And en route, the TD has a chance to prove it's also a good mudder. Once again, an opportunity to witness how readily the M10 takes the rough going. Slit trenches included. Proper cover and concealment are always vital. The TD is thus exposed only for the purpose of this demonstration. The assistant driver checks the terrain at his vantage point and advises both gun commander and driver. He is also the radio operator, the SCR 610 shown in the picture. The loader gets the shell from the ready rack and with one sweeping motion inserts the shell and on the follow-through taps the gunner on the back, lightly so as not to destroy his aim. The firing button is on the elevating wheel. For indirect firing, the panoramic sight is used. The gun commander demonstrates manual firing. See for yourself the timing, the rapidity of fire, the stability of the gun carriage. Another interesting point. When in a dusty area, the muzzle blast is sufficient to kick up a dust cloud, visible to the enemy. Therefore, to keep up its effectiveness, the TD's location must be constantly shifted. Firepower tests of the 3-inch gun, okay. So it's off to the wars for another shipment of tank destroyers. They've passed the most grueling tests. Only the best have survived. And when they reach destinations now veiled in military secrecy, they'll prove their worth through faultless performances. Invention and military application will keep up the flow of TDs until the final knockout has been achieved.
Hello guys, how you going? I hope you enjoyed the bit of a longer intro than normal, but interesting one. That was a War Department film on this tank, the M10, which is the tank I'm going to be driving today and looking at mainly. Now I say mainly because at the end there will be a little bit of a rant. Yeah, I'll probably put that in another video, but I will mention it here as well. So anyway, the M10 tank destroyer. American tank destroyer of World War II. It was a vehicle the US Army needed. They needed a tank with a good gun that could penetrate the German armour. The Army crested the vehicle with a gun and a fully rotating turret. After other interim models were criticised for being too poorly designed. The prototype of the M10 was conceived in early 1942, being delivered in April of that year. After appropriate changes to the hull and turret were made, the modified version was selected for production in June 1943 as the 3-inch gun motor carriage, or GMC, as it's more commonly known. The hull and turret were made. The modified version was... Oh, sorry, I'm just repeating myself there. Sorry, I'm still having issues. It had the 3-inch 76.2mm M7 gun on it, with a rotating turret, on a modified Sherman chassis, basically. I'll just switch to player view here. Always forget to do that. It was modified off the M4A2 Sherman chassis. There was a version which was going to use the M4A3 tank. It was produced. Production of the two models ran from September 1942 to December 1943, and October 42, November 43 respectively. The first vehicle to establish the American style of World War II tank destroyer, the M10 was numerically the most important US tank destroyer of World War II. It combined thin but sloped armour with the M4 Sherman's reliable hull and drivetrain, and a reasonably potent anti-tank weapon mounted on the top turret. Despite its obsolescence in the face of more powerful German tanks like the Panther and the introduction of more powerful and better designed types as replacements, the M10 remained in service until the end of the war. The M10 was used by Britain and Free France, and also several dozen were given to, well, were sold to Russia. Also Belgium, Denmark, Netherlands, and a few other defence forces like China and Israel also had the M10. The M10 is called the Wolverine, but the origin of this nickname is unknown. It's possibly a post-war invention. Unlike other vehicles such as the M4 Sherman, M5 Stuart, or the M7 Priest, the M10 was never assigned a nickname or referred to with one when used by American soldiers. They simply called it a TD, tank destroyer, beyond its formal designation. So the M10, what's it like? Well, it's bloody good. The gun is super accurate. The rounds are very, very good. You're going to go through most armour. The KV-1 across there, which I mistook for a T-34 because it was quite a distance, but once I got my eye in, it was gone. Now, I'm at the sniping point at the port here, and, well, nobody's really looking at me, and I could just run havoc. Hence the mass killing here. The other thing is the gun's so accurate you can get it on point. Now I start backing up here because I'm feeling like somebody's looking at me. So I just want to get out of it for a few seconds. So in that time, managed to get 5 kills, which is always good. I could have just looked down there, I suppose. So the M10 is a really good, interesting tank. As you saw in our little war footage film there, it was a very important tank for America as well. It had a 5-man crew, which operated the gun and driving, of course, but there was also an operator for the 50 cal too. The good thing about this tank was it was very good off-road. It's a very fast tank for its time, and a very stable tank too, with a really good gun. Now watch here on this ZIS-43. Just spotted it through that easy kill. The great thing is the shell, it's got a slightly higher fuse sensitivity than most, 20 mil, with a delay of 1.2 milliseconds. So that means you can penetrate through walls and stuff and actually damage people, which is fantastic. I'm trying to hit that aisle 2 here. I actually got a couple of hits on it, which was something. I'm at the point where I'm just sort of like, well, there's not much happening, I've got lots of kills. Unfortunately, our team is absolutely, well, things are not going well, in all honesty. So I'm not paying attention to the bank, which is very unfortunate because I pay for it with that ZIS 43. And then I don't notice behind me that we are basically spawn camped. So if we just switch to this view, there are T-34s everywhere down here. And, well, I wasn't looking behind me because most of my team were behind me. Unfortunately, they weren't for long. So I'm sitting here, tra-la-la-la-la, thinking, okay, I'm safe on this road. I wasn't even trying to back up any further or hide. Which I wish I had known there was enemies behind me. If somebody told me, it would have been nice. T-34 there is about to get a very easy kill. As I sit here repairing. There we go. So, the M10 overall is a fantastic tank and well worth your time. It's not got the highest armour, but it doesn't need it. It's a sniping vehicle, and in that role, it is fantastic. Okay guys, that is all on the tank. Now it's time to rant a bit. So, spawn camping. Yep, it's that problem. So, we are spawn camped to buggery here. And, well, if you look around, we are absolutely buggered. The enemy team just steamrolled. They all grouped up in T-34s, SU-122s, just went around and just demolished everything while we were busy, you know, counter-sniping and stuff like that. Our team's absolutely annihilated, and it's a real shame because that game was really good fun. And the issue is with spawn camping, it's just so frustrating because nobody could get back in game. There were at least 5 players that just died spawning in other tanks because they were trying to get back in game and get back into the fight. Now, spawn camping is a legitimate part of the game apparently. However, it really shouldn't be. With this game, spawn camping shouldn't be a thing. They harshly penalise you if you're attacking a spawn with an aircraft, say. So if you go and, I don't know, attack an airfield, for instance, you're going to get the absolute bejesus blown out of you. Now you see there, I dropped some bombs and do absolutely nothing for T-34s, which is fun. So, in air, where there's no respawning, spawn camping is really frowned upon. You know, attacking an airfield is like, oh, you can't do that because that's wrong. You get penalised harshly for it, even if you're in a bomber at, say, I don't know, 9,000 feet. You will get the absolute Jesus blown out of you because, well, you're attacking the enemy approach point. And it should be the same for ground. Your spawn point should be protected because if a group like this steamrollers in there, there's nothing you can do. And it just ruins the game. You have the spawn protection, which I will use to my advantage when I respawn. But you can only get 1 or 2 kills with that. So, T-34 there, dead. KV-1, T-34, if you look around, there's T-34 and KV-1s everywhere here. We don't have a chance to even put up a fight if we do respawn. And that's the biggest problem, is you just don't have that opportunity to basically get back in the game. Because, well, what can you do? you're just completely overrun. Now, if they had, say, 10 AI tanks in the spawn area with good aim, then it would put people off spawn camping. You know, it's a huge issue in tanks, and it just never gets any better. And, well, I have enough to spawn here in another tank. I could spawn again in a Sherman, and I'd probably get 1 kill, 2 kills. But I'm going to die instantly and give them more points. End of this game, I ended up scoring more points than most of their team who had won. I got the most kills of anyone in the game. But we couldn't put a comeback because we were spawn camped, and it just completely ruins the game. It's something that needs to be fixed, and there's nothing that needs to be done on this game, because at the moment, without any spawn protection, it's just ludicrous. There's no point in having a game like this where people just spawn camp. If you were in an FPS and this was happening, people would complain. Say Overwatch, for instance. If you just sit outside their spawn and keep sniping them, people are unhappy. They lose interest and stop playing. It's the same in War Thunder. If people keep spawn camping, if you get steamrolled every single match, which does happen unfortunately at low tiers, if you keep getting spawn camped, you can't do anything. You die, you lose interest in the game. More people are put off on the game because of spawn camping than stay in the game. And that's really sad, because it's going to lose players. Look there with the Achilles, he spawned in, was trying to get a move into some place, but got shotgunned by the KV-1. There was nothing he could do, because we're overrun. And yes, you could say, well, that's the fault of our team. However, saying that is like saying, oh, it's a cancer patient's fault for, getting cancer. It's not a helpful thing. And unfortunately, it's something that will really, really damage the game. And it has done. I know a lot of my friends that basically brought me onto this game have left because of the spawn camping. And Gaijin don't seem to want to do anything about it, which is a real shame. They need to look at doing something, that's all. So, rant over with. All out of the way. The M10. Awesome tank. Well worth it. I finally have fire protection on it, so I can put out fires at last. See the handy dandy fire extinguisher? So, it's a really good sniping vehicle, and that's something I like to do in tanks. It's reasonably fast, very agile. You can get into places. It's one of the better tanks out there. Of course, it goes on to better and bigger things. Once you get to the Hellcats, it's it's a better tank. It's very fast, it's very maneuverable. Even the 18, really fast. It's a much faster vehicle, much more maneuverable, and these things just fly around the battlefield, and that's what they need. Really, really good fun. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, found it useful. I hope you enjoyed the start as well, a bit of a different one today. So yeah, I will catch you again soon. This is Screezilla out. Bye bye, guys.